Good morning, natural gas. It's Wednesday, July the 29th, 2026. I'm Tim Beggins, president of Elk Trading Company, and today is the expiration for the spot August natural gas contract. That's right, September is up next tomorrow. And as you can see right now, we are currently just sitting 4 ticks below unchanged. We're currently at 265.80. And as you can see, the RSI is sideways on a very low level. But today is it. That's it. There's very little positions in open interest. We're going to see that in a second here. And of course, right now, despite the heat, things have been very, very weak for the last 2 weeks in the spot August contract. Let's turn to the hourly. And as you can see right now, we're holding above the daily pivot at 261.1. Our low for the day was 262. So we're holding above that first support level. The RSI is trying to turn to the upside. So let's see if it can return back to the daily pivot, which comes in at 268.60 today. Not too far to go, but it looks just like it's going to go sideways to slightly higher before it goes off the board. Remember, there's very little open interest, and let's take a look at that. It's only 41.62 of open interest coming into today on the CME NYMEX. So anything can happen here. Watch out for the volatility. Again, today is expiration for the August contract. So if you've got positions, time to get out. And tomorrow, September, will be the prompt. Let's take a look at the front to back spreads. And yep, here we go. All attention is now starting to focus in on winter. Why? Because things are looking pretty tight in Europe here as far as storage is concerned. They peak typically in injections in the next 2 weeks, and they're running behind last year and the 5-year average. And let's take a look at here the Jan versus October spread, and we're up 4.2 cents here to 143.40. RSI is still pointing to the upside, so we bounced off of that critical support at 125, and now we'll start to make a run here, possibly for as high as 1605. Let's take a look at the ERCOT fuel mix here. And as you can see here, our system demand for renewables today, we've got a high combination of 41,000 of wind and solar potential today in megawatts. But look at our forecast here, over 90,000 megawatts in the grid. It is hot, and it is going to boil all across Texas today. And let's take a look at natural gas here. It is running about 28,000 megawatts, or about 43% of the grid. Yup, solar is still the king right now with wind. Those combined, along with some power storage, continue to eat away at natural gas demand. But as you can see right here, if we look at the previous day, here's what happens. Early in the morning, it's natural gas all the way until about 8:30 in the morning. Then solar takes over until about 6:30 at night. But also look what's competing with natural gas: power. That's right, the battery guys. These guys are discharging into the system right as solar peaks off. Let's take a look at the national grid for electricity here. And of course, already this morning spiking up here in SPP over 116. As you can see, our pain points today are going to be SPP, PJM, and MISO. But even with the record demand possibly here today in ERCOT, we're looking at only getting about $74 per megawatt. That's fantastic news, all because of renewables and batteries. Let's take a look at the 6 to 10 day outlook here. And this is, again, above normal is centered in the interior west here. There is some above normals now in the Great Lakes up toward New England region. That's the 6 to 10. The 8 to 14 day temperature outlook, this carries us through August the 11th. Takes some above normal temperatures and now starting to climb across the East Coast here, Florida, all the way back up into Virginia and parts of West Virginia. So let's take a look at the extreme heat risk here. And as you can see, it's mainly focused in the south from New Mexico over into Florida here. This continues over the next few days, peaking on Sunday. Here's 2 million people in extreme heat risk. Then that extreme heat risk moves into the interior west. Less population there, thankfully, but here's Sunday, and that encompasses everything from Southern California, Arizona, Utah, all the way back up into Wyoming and parts of Texas. Over 16 million people in extreme heat risk. This eases up a little bit on Monday and then eases even further on Tuesday. Let's take a look at the model here, and this is going to be for this morning here. Let's push it out a little bit here so we don't overlap here. But as you can see going forward here, we've got hundreds going forward here in Texas, the interior West. We do see some warmer temperatures starting to creep up the East Coast. That's good news for natural gas. And as you can see right here, heat indices, and this is a conservative model. This is the European AI model, 105 in Dallas, 105 in Phoenix, 101 in the Central Valley of California, 96 across South Carolina. As we push further in, as you can see, it continues Texas all the way to Florida, and now starting to creep up the East Coast. And let's take a look at Europe here, which is going to bake yet again. There's France here tomorrow, today actually. Very, very warm, goes into Germany over the next few days. Then it eases up a little bit for France, but then here comes the heat back again as we get toward August the 12th. There's warmer temperatures across the region here, and that's not going to help them because their storage injections are still too far behind. They'll be lucky to get to 75 to 80% full by the time November 1st starts. And as you can see right here, warmer temperatures again through the first week of August. A little bit of cool weather comes in on the 8th. And that's good news before, yet again, it starts to get very, very warm here around August the 12th. There it is. Let's take a look at the JKM versus TTF marker here. And this is for January. And look at the spread, $1.30.5. That's not good news for Europe. This means Asia is starting to outbid for spot LNG cargoes. This is not good news, Europe. And here is Europe, almost 56% full here. It is trailing along the bottom here, the minimal levels here at 55.4%. So slightly above that, but it's not very good news because look at the peak. August the 15th tends to be the peak for injections across the EU. If we look at some of the real problem children here, say Belgium, yeah, we're about to hit the peak. If not, we've already peaked. So this isn't good news at all because they start to get near flat around September the 11th on average. Not good news. And let's take a look at the Netherlands here. Also, same kind of problem here. They're probably already peaking out in injections. They're going to have to keep this up all the way through the next 3 months. They're only at 35.7% full. And let's take a look at Asia. Same story here. This is the warmer temperatures we've been warning about here, coming in from the interior desert area of China, pushing along the Mongolian border here and into Beijing, the capital city area, and this is Shanghai. So everything from Shanghai back to Beijing above normal. So they're pulling cargoes right now against Europe. How about the LNG? This is Qatar here. We have one vessel loading at Ras Laffan. This continues the same pattern. Vessel comes in, loads up, or at least does some sort of provisioning, and then goes back out of the port. So we'll see whether or not this is going to be in anticipation of the Strait of Hormuz reopening. But there was some exchange of fire with Iran shooting ballistic missiles at U.S. forces in Jordan. That's not good news. As you can see, very little right here in the strait itself. There are some boats trying to approach it, but there is still log jams here around Dubai and, of course, Oman. So let's take a look at U.S. LNG. Cameron, steady as she goes. Fantastic place. Freeport, pretty steady as well, just under 1.2. This is Creole Trail, still doing slightly better here. This is good news there. It has got 1.43 BCF of feed gas going in right now at a 1.7 on this pipe. There's one pipe to feed the LNG facility. They've got more pipes. And here is Corpus Christi doing much better as well. 2.55 here at a 2.75. This is good news as it's bringing on train 7. And here is Calcasieu Pass here. This is still the same, 400,000 open capacity. Don't know why. But let's take a look at Plaquemines. It's also now got open capacity, so the throttle has been eased up a little bit here at Plaquemines. Had been running over nameplate capacity for a while. Has started to ease up a little bit. And Golden Pass, same thing, same day. It's 330,000 MMBTUs at a total capacity over 800,000. Like to see this ramp up here because they're also trying to bring on train 2 before year end. And here is the U.S. nuclear fleet, 1.3 gigawatts are offline right now for a little bit of maintenance and refueling. And it's Monticello up here in Minnesota. That is a 52% outage. That's kicking it up a little bit here. But again, we stay pretty low here all the way through September, or the beginning of September here. And then we start the recycling and maintenance season all over again for the fall. And here is the satellite picture for the tropics, mid-Atlantic. Not much here to speak of. We got some storms off the Carolinas, but there is nothing here in the Gulf. There's a little bit off of, this looks like this is Honduras here. And then you got a little bit off of Western Florida. Nothing in particular because we've got more Saharan air layer coming. There's a big plume coming off the coast right now. There's this massive plume here, but part of it is being carried into Central America. Part of it is actually being pushed off the US coast and moving north. It's going to be very interesting to see if it moves into Europe. And here is the Canadian wildfires. Not much here. There is that smoke. That's okay, but most of the stuff is contained in the Pacific Northwest here of the United States and Canada. The far northern portion of Canada with the wildfires appears to have started to die out a little bit. And let's turn our attention to the earthquakes. And again, we've got these massive clusters. We had a big earthquake a day ago in southern Japan. We've got more aftershocks here all the way through from 5.6 down to 4.4 in magnitude. So we're keeping a careful eye on this because there are 3 nuclear units in this area. All are safe so far. Let's take a look at the stocks here in the oil and gas E&P sector. Stocks between $2 and $10 billion have a high short float over 10%. And as you can see, it's a sea of green. Why? Because crude oil is up big because of the Iranian ballistic missile attack. And so everything is doing well. Behind me, CNX up 1.33%. So again, today is expiration of the August natural gas contract. We're currently up 1 single penny here to 267.20. It is again expiration tomorrow. September will be spot. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Please hit that like and subscribe button. Thanks for listening. We'll see you tomorrow.